Okay, I'm back, and I think we got some audio now. Can you hear me now? Somebody give me a little response here. I think I got it up and going. Okay, you can hear me now. Wonderful. Oh my goddess, Mercury retrograde has showed it is in the building, I tell you. Um, so we'll talk a little bit about what's up, and but before that, uh, I'd like for you to just do one thing for me. Just tell me where you're from, where your body is right now, what city, what country, and also give me one word that is a reflection of what it is that you would like to get out of tonight. One word: love, peace, power, joy, whatever. Let me see it. What's the one thing, where are you from, and what's the one thing you'd like to get out of tonight? Okay, we got Charlotte, North Carolina. Clarity. Okay, well, anyway, I know there's a lot of things that you would want to receive. And one of the things that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close the chat for right now. Oh, okay, well, we got some coming in there. Okay, we got understanding from Charlotte, and we've got healing. And we've got understanding, abundance, empowerment, balance, healing, lots and lots of things. Okay, so I'm gonna open the chat a little bit later again, but for right now, I'm going to just lay the foundation for what it is that we're doing. And I'm saying thank you to the Most High for getting us through that little moment of Mercury retrograde and technological mishaps. I tell you what happened is I got an external microphone, and I was messing around with it today because I want to get a higher sound quality based upon the fact that I'm going to be working with you with a lot of frequencies of sound, and I will be able to get it worked out. But it was just to the last minute, and I think I was in trying to install that mic. I think I might have did something that wasn't quite like it was supposed to be, and that's why we didn't have sound in the beginning. But I'm grateful that you can hear me now. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to move through the frequency of Mercury retrograde in a good way and to cause this energy to become servant unto us and not allow it to be master over us. So one of the things I think I'd like to open with, well, you didn't get my sound currents earlier, so let me just offer a little bit of that frequency, and then I want to read my prayer and begin to lay the foundation for bringing our energies into harmonic synchronicity to become empowered by Mercury retrograde and any and every other thing that exists within our lives. Prayer for Mercury retrograde, the eclipse, and Lion's Gate. Hear these words as if they are spoken from your own heart, from your own mind, your own soul. We're riding the bliss wave all the way to the cosmogasm, to allow the cosmogasm to pour out the baptism upon our sacred creations and give birth to everything we want to be, do, achieve, and have. I invoke, dream awake, allow, receive, and live the highest blessings available through Mercury retrograde, the eclipse, and Lion's Gate, to totally align with my divine expansion, Everything about Mercury retrograde, the eclipse, and Lionsgate is now serving unto my highest good and the good of all. I allow the most benevolent energies of Mercury retrograde, opposing Neptune, to facilitate my connection to spirit, the expansion of my telepathy, and access to the inner dimensions, and my greater expression of compassion, musical mastery, and divine insight. I utilize the positive energies of Pluto to bring to completion in my life that which no longer serves my highest good. I honor all of my relationships and share my love, knowing that it is shared with the Most High through them. I move through the portal of the Lion's Gate and connect with the highest reality of my divine self. I allow the Divine Mother to express love, empathy, and wisdom through me. I am generous in my experience of partaking of and sharing the resonance of home, terrestrial and celestial. Everyone and everything is a mirror of the rest of who I am. I forever expand that which is for my highest good. I allow into being the leader and sacred warrior that I am. I am optimistic and fulfilled in self-love and sacred relationship. I dream awake beauty, unity, balance, charm, and grace, full of love and compassion. The will of God is my will personified through my soul. I am a blessing unto the whole universe, and the universe is a blessing unto me. I allow this prayer and mantra to reach out and empower every other prayer and mantra that is, was, or ever will be, and in turn be empowered by every other prayer and mantra that is, was, or ever will be. I allow Mercury retrograde, the eclipse, and Lionsgate to empower every other astrological configuration that is, was, or ever will be, and in turn be empowered by every other astrological configuration that is, was, or ever will be in a good way. I allow, receive, and live the beauty and benevolent blessings connected to Mercury retrograde, the eclipse, and Lionsgate, as well as all things in my life. In this and all matters, I am the oneness of the wholeness of all life. We are riding the bliss wave all the way to the cosmogasm, to allow the cosmogasm to pour out the baptism upon our sacred creations to give birth to everything that we want to be, do, have, achieve, and create. I invoke and dream awake infinite miracles in my life in this now. And so we have the power to invoke the resonance of miracles. We have the power to step forward and have Mercury retrograde be servant unto our highest good. This is a great opportunity that we have, because the basic resonance of Mercury retrograde is that it's for introspection. And so we're meant to begin to delve deeper into the inner core of who we are. The spiritual dimensions are more available to us. So the relationship that we have with Source can be deepened and can expand during this period. So we want to take advantage of what are the opportunities in the Mercury retrograde experience. So the human mind slows down, but the inner mind, the spiritual mind, becomes accelerated. Telepathy becomes more available. The communication that happens without words becomes more available. The internal resonance of creation that happens in the intangible realm is more accelerated. It's like we went through this little technical bloop a minute ago. And what I give celebration to is that my heart never missed a beat in the process of that technological difficulty, because I knew that no matter what, I am empowered by everything. No matter what, you are empowered by everything. And that's one of the things that we're here to speak about. in this cyberspace auditorium of Miraculi University, the mystery school. And so it's about deeper communication. Deeper communication operates at the level of our emotionality, which is one of the reasons why when we're in the Mercury retrograde cycle, there is a greater activation of who we are at the emotional level. The emotional sensitivity is always greater when Mercury is retrograde. And that has a lot to do with the fact that we are meant to be in emotional communication. We are meant to own more of who we are as an emotional being. Some of us are emotional hiders, and we feel very deep and powerful things, and we don't want to let others know what it is that we're feeling. Well, when we are in the process of hiding or attempting to hide the essence of who we are from someone else, we also wind up hiding much of who we are from our own self. So that's the price that we pay for being an emotional hider. So we want to utilize this Mercury retrograde energy to become more courageous at the emotional level, to step forward and be the resonance of what we feel. You know, I remember some years ago, I was in a seminar, and there was a certain point in the seminar when I stood up and I was sharing a part of my life, and I was absolutely sobbing. And for the first time in my life, those tears that I was crying with absolute dignity. I knew that they were not weakness. I knew that they were a reflection of strength because I was being in alignment with the truth of that particular moment. The weakness would have been had I pushed or attempted to push the feelings down. And so when I finished that seminar, I wrote this poem, and it's called From Stinking Thinking to Revealing Feeling, and it's real appropriate to this Mercury retrograde cycle because there is so much activation of who we are at the emotional level, especially since when Mercury went retrograde, that that Neptune in Pisces was very closely in opposition to Mercury retrograde. And the Neptunian energy represents that which is an ocean of emotion. So without further ado, here's the poem. I call it From Stinking Thinking to Revealing Feeling. The things I know by what I think are partly good and they partly stink. Not a bad start, but partly sealed. Truth of the head is half revealed. What was the bid when I was a little kid? If I want to be smart, then learn it by heart. What a dread when I learned it by head, for in all my learning I woke up dead. How can my truth be alive and real unless it's truth that I can feel? Down the highway of ignorance and strife, mere thinking was at the wheel of my life. Intellect was wheeling and dealing, but now I'm chauffeured by my feeling. I don't mind showing what's inside. We are all one. Why should I hide? When I do, from me I steal, for I can't heal what I won't reveal, and I can't heal what I'm unwilling to feel. So life, mother of all good things, thanks for the wisdom feeling brings. In feeling, there is nothing new except that which my soul always knew. From stinking thinking to revealing feeling, let's all open up and have a healing. And so, beloved, while we're going through this experience of Mercury retrograde, where are you in the resonance of your feeling nature? Do you honor your feelings? Or do you try to run away from your feelings? It's so important to own the feeling aspect of who we are, because feelings are rooted within being. Mercury retrograde helps us to learn that, because when the mind slows down, the feelings speed up. Mercury retrograde is like the mind inverting itself and turning within. And so we have this great amplification of our feeling nature. And so we honor this part of us who is Neptune. Neptune that is in an oppositional alignment with the Mercury. So this Mercury retrograde has a very Neptunian flavor. On the shadow side, it can be a sense of being really spaced out. It can be a tendency to make extreme sacrifices for others, sacrificing so extremely that we're saying the unsacred yes. The unsacred yes is that which we say yes to that is not in alignment with our integrity. When we sacrifice, quite often, it's a win-lose situation. We sacrifice, they win, we lose. Now, the shadow aspect of Neptune, which is in direct relationship with this Mercury retrograde, the shadow aspect is the sacrifice. But the light and exalted aspect is compassion. So it is a matter of let us trade in our sacrificing tendencies for compassion. The beauty of compassion is that it operates with a certain measure of wisdom that will not allow you to hurt yourself in the process of giving to another person. This is one of the things that is up for us to really learn. Sometimes it's better to say the sacred no rather than the unsacred yes. The sacred no is when we say no to something, then that no is in direct alignment with our integrity. And we're doing that which is an expression of our highest good. And sometimes it's important to say no to those who are absolutely the closest to us. Family, close friends. With this Neptune opposition to Mercury, we also get a chance to look at that part of us who is overly sensitive to what other people feel about us, or what they say about us, judgments that may come at us. The Mercury retrograde energy is also about looking at judgments and looking at criticism, because Mercury in and of itself, retrograde or not, is the planet that has strong association with judgments and criticisms. And so, beloved, when you're criticized, when you're judged, are you willing to stand in the resonance of loving yourself and saying to that person who's judging you or criticizing you, do your life and grow and get clear. I'm loving you from over here. Always keeping your heart open, but letting what really matters be the way in which you're loving yourself and the way in which the Most High is loving you. The Most High loves you with an absolute love and validates you with an infinite validation by virtue of one fact, and that is that you are. It has nothing to do with what you do, achieve, or create. So Mercury is associated with perfection, with order, with planning. Sometimes plans fall through. Logistics don't seem to quite work out. Scheduling gets screwed up. Audio gets whacked onto like what we experienced a little bit earlier. And so when all of these outer logistical things go into a non-functioning mode, we have this amazing opportunity to exercise patience. See, when we're in that resonance of patience, and we can get that, we can tap into the higher resonance of patience through the exaltation of the Neptune frequencies. Patience is that frequency within us that says we can be in sacred pause. We can be in that sacred place of waiting while knowing that ultimately things are going to work out favorably for us. We trust. For impatience is its own form of fear. If we go into impatience, which is one of the great temptations during Mercury retrograde, then the impatience is the fear that if things don't hurry up and happen, maybe they won't happen. So impatience gives all of its attention upon the possibility of outcomes that we really want nothing to do with. So impatience is not a good ally. Impatience is one of the shadow expressions of Mercury retrograde. Now, with this Neptune in the mix of Mercury retrograde, there's also going to be a tremendous cycle of aloneness. You may find yourself spending a lot of time alone, or even having the experience of when you are in the company of others, still feeling alone. This aloneness is not for the purpose of loneliness, but rather it is for the purpose of aligning with that within you, which is all oneness. See, the highest resonance of alone is all one. When you are in the resonance of the all oneness of your life, it never even matters how many people are in immediate physical presence with you, because you know that you are a biological living library carrying the resonance of the whole universe. When you are in the all oneness of aloneness, then you know you are the universe keeping sacred company with itself through the individualization of your soul. And so you don't feel pain around being alone. And so if you find during this Mercury retrograde cycle that you are experiencing some time of keeping company with yourself, let it be a matter of keeping sacred company with yourself, and enjoy keeping company with yourself. You know, take a little time out to let yourself know how much you love you. Look in the mirror and say, oh, my beloved, I love you so much. I thank you for being me. I thank you for all of the wonderful offerings that you bring forward in life. Be in the appreciation for who you are. When you are in the appreciation for who you are, you create a deeper connection with your inner child. That's where God resides in your being. If you're looking for God, look to the inner child, and you'll find source within you. That's why the Holy Scripture says, unless you become as a little child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. Without those credentials, you will not be allowed back in. Why? Because the inner child walks in the resonance of innocence, walks in the resonance of being the infinite possibility thinker, the infinite possibility creator. Ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say any and everything and absolutely mean it from their core until they are discouraged by adults. They don't believe anything is beyond their reach. And when you look at the little toddler, the little bitty one, what's their favorite mantra? Mine! You could be a stranger that just walked in the door, but if you have something that they want, they will say, mine. And they will try to wrestle it out of your hand, or will wrestle it out of your hand if you allow them to. Because there's just something within their nature that feels like they should not be denied anything. Now, that's an extreme example, but it still ties into the resonance of power that exists within the inner child. So if you want to have the allegiance of your inner child, then you must be self-acknowledging. You must give yourself credit for what you are accomplishing in life. In your soul searching, paying attention to those things that are delicious and wonderful, giving acknowledgement to yourself for what you achieve in. Like perfection is one of the things about Mercury. Mercury operates in the resonance of perfection. And there is false perfection, and then there is genuine perfection. False perfection operates in connection with time, where everything has an expiration date. And false perfection is associated with reaching some particular plateau. And the idea that things will be perfect when I reach this or that level. But perfection in the most genuine sense of perfection is not a destination that you reach, but rather an eternal journey that you're on. And every step in this journey down the corridors of your life is a perfect step. And every chapter in the book of your life is a perfect chapter, though not necessarily a favorite chapter. But if you were to rip out an unfavorite chapter from the book of your life, it would be just as incomplete as if you ripped out a favorite chapter. And so, beloved, what I'm saying to you is everything is perfect. The mistakes you make in life, every time you're knocked down in life, you get knocked down sometimes and it hurts like hell, but then what happens? You get up stronger than you were before you were knocked down. And you get up stronger, not so much in spite of being knocked down, but you get up stronger because of being knocked down. So being knocked down has its perfection. Everything has its perfection. The sacred yes is when you say yes to that which you feel totally aligned with in your integrity. Say yes to your life. Say yes to love becoming a part of your life. Say yes to the witnessing of love that you see exchanged between others. All love is your love by extension. So, in your life, do you maximize the minimum or minimize the maximum? When you minimize the maximum, then you're engaging in the false perfection. See? Like seeing the glass as half empty. That's minimizing the maximum. Because if you see the glass as half empty, then it is in the potential of emptying out. When you flip it and you maximize the minimum and you see the glass as half full, it's in the potential of filling up. So when you look at what it is that you've accomplished in your life, what you've achieved in your life, even if it seems small, get your magnifying glass out and maximize the minimum. because when you maximize the minimum becomes the maximum. All of these things are very mercurial, very much associated with this planet Mercury, which we're experiencing in retrograde motion right now. But then, the greater part of the year, we experience Mercury in direct motion. So we always have an articulation of mind taking place. But we want to let the mind follow the heart. It's very important that we learn to feel with our mind and think with our heart. Because feelings, let's say if mind and feelings, or feelings and thinking were siblings, then feelings is actually the elder sibling. Feelings are the elder because they are experiential and they are rooted within being. And they are a resonance of oneness. When I'm feeling you, I'm joined at the hip with you. See, I can communicate with you and I can articulate with something or someone and be completely objectively separate from what or who I'm communicating with. But when there's feeling of something, it's oneness. See, thoughts are very observational, feeling, experiential. And so our feelings are our access code to source, our access code to God. We feel God, we experience God through the feeling nature, way more than through the mind. We can use the mind to articulate what the experience was, but the actual experience happens through our feeling nature. So let us own more fully our emotional body. Now, in this Mercury retrograde, we have some other planets that are in the mix. Because when Mercury goes retrograde, it's a very powerful energy release that offers some measure of empowerment to every other thing that's going on a planetary level. So when Mercury went retrograde, the planet Saturn in Sagittarius was also making a trine to the moon in Aries. A trine is a harmonious conversation between planets. And so what that represents during this Mercury retrograde cycle is that it is a time for emotional maturing, to mature in who we are as an emotional being, and to be in alignment with the more exalted emotions rather than the shadow emotions. Shadow emotions like hate, resentment, doubt, fear, worry. All of those are emotions that are of the resonance of time, wherein everything has an expiration date. When we look at the emotions of bliss and joy and compassion, and delicious excitement, these are qualities of the Creator, and they resonate to the rhythm of eternity. They will stand the test of eternity and will never cease to be, because they are extensions and qualities of the Most High. With Saturn trining the moon, it's also a time for learning how to take more responsibility for your feelings. One of the common languaging of things sometimes is somebody said, he made me feel this way, or she made me feel that way. Well, no one can make you feel any way. When you feel something in response to the behavior or the words of another person, you do so by way of your own choosing of how you want to react to what they've said to you, or how they were toward you. No one can make you feel anyway. It's always a matter of your own choosing. So this is a wonderful opportunity with Saturn trining moon for us to begin to up-level our sense of responsibility regarding who we are as an emotional being. And even when there are difficult emotions, being willing to say, what is it that this feeling is trying to teach me. Because once you learn all that any situation is having to teach you, then the negativity associated with that situation outlives its usefulness. It moves out of the way and makes room for something else much more wonderful. Saturn rules father, moon rules mother. So with Saturn and the moon in a harmonious conversation with each other, it is also an opportunity to heal wounds associated with the relationship of mother and father. For example, if you experienced seeing, animosity take place between your father and your mother, then this is a wonderful cycle in which you can heal, some of the negative layers of energy, the negative emotional charge associated with that. And you can begin to see the energy of father and mother in the light of something that will harmonize and flow positively, with each other. It is also a matter of the inner masculine and female principles inside, because Saturn carries a masculinity, moon carries a femininity. So it's also about having the opportunity to create a harmonious conversation, between the inner masculine and feminine aspect of your own self. All these things are available to us, but we have to choose. Just like one who has an inheritance, they have to grow to maturity and claim that inheritance. So I'm inviting you to claim your inheritance of all of these different frequencies that are available to you in a good way while we're in this Mercury retrograde cycle. There is also the energy of the Saturn, Sagittarius, trining the sun in Leo and trining Mars. So could be some strong career opportunities right now, because, to the sun, that's the core essence of our being, and Saturn is, the resonance of career. So if there's some things that you've been wanting to create as a blessing for yourself in the area of career, then this is a wonderful time to begin to up-level the energies that you're putting forward in order to be successful or to bring in some new career opportunity, or either to expand what's going on in whatever it is that you're already doing career-wise, to create some kind of expansion or some kind of new opportunity within that realm. So now it's time to experience a transmission. One of the things that the Most High has blessed me with is the ability to transmit energy over great distances and even between dimensions. And so this transmission is going to be about awakening the creative ability within you, awakening that part of you that wants to create that next wonderful something, whatever that is for you. And I'm going to play one of my tracks, which is called Amazing Creator. And when I play that track, then my image will disappear from the screen. There will be a still image there. You'll also be able to close your eyes if you want to. And also, while you're hearing the words of Amazing Creator, I want you to be aware of the fact that I'm going to be transmitting to you a very special frequency. You might have a tingling sensation. You might feel a sense of floating, or you might see visions or pictures, in your inner mind. There's a lot of different ways in which it can manifest. As you receive this, I also want you to look larger than this individual, Astarius Miraculi. The whole universe is at work through me, because I do give myself over into the hands of the Most High to operate through me in this transmission. So it's bigger than me individually. What's happening is universally. And I also know that I'm administering to the whole universe through each and every one of you. So without further ado, let me shift over here and call up this track for you. Okay, there it goes. Okay, and we want to select one, and we want Amazing Creator. Let's load him up, and here we go. And play.
Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. Amazing creation, successful and ascended. Amazing creation, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creation, successful and ascended. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am.
Welcome back. I pray that you enjoyed your journey via Amazing Creator. That track, Amazing Creator, is from my album called Ascension Rap. And that was 1 out of 12 tracks. If you have an interest in that, you can access it via my website, Astarius.com. So I just have a couple other things that I want to share, and then I'm going to open up the chat for some questions. With regards to time, you know, Mercury has a lot to do with the factor of time, and so often there's an issue of feeling like you're running out of time, or that there's just not enough time to get everything done. And that is to dishonor the reality of who and what you really are, who and what we all really are. You see, time can't run out on eternity, and therefore time can't run out on you or me. So you may not get everything that you want to get done in a given period of time, in a given lifetime, or even in several lifetimes. But whether you get it all done in 1 lifetime or 10 lifetimes, when you measure all of those lifetimes alongside eternity, they come up pretty much the same. Just a drop in the ocean of eternity. So don't allow yourself to be bullied by time. Time is meant to be the micro container of eternity, but you have to see that relationship that exists between time and eternity in order for that to be your reality. Pluto is acting as a mediator planet with the Mercury retrograde opposing Neptune in Pisces. And so the question that is to be asked around what Pluto's doing, and it's harmonious, so it's a harmonious mediating expression. So the question is, what is it in your life that needs to be eliminated? Or who in your life needs to not be so up close and personal. It is a time of letting go and a time of being responsible for qualities of self or personality traits that need to be let go of, as well as people that may not be healthy to be hanging out with. And also really embracing the power of transformation. Probably once upon a time, the caterpillar looked up at the butterfly and said, "You'll never get me up in one of those things." And yet, that's the destiny of the caterpillar. And so when you're going through transformational experiences, just know that there is a resonance of flight quite often on the other side of that experience. You're moving from the caterpillar to the butterfly. Pluto also has an association with the ascension, ascended masters, angels, ancestors, and elementals. So this is a really important cycle to be in communication with ancestors, in communication with angels, elementals, and so forth. Also, just for the benefit of those who may have come in after I actually started, the replay will be available at 10:30 Eastern time, and also if you just want to see it again. So just wanted to make that little announcement for those who might want to experience the replay of this webinar. And lastly, Venus is playing a part as a mediator as well, harmonious to Neptune, harmonious to the Mercury retrograde. And so it's about a deeper communication at the level of relationship, and also about learning how to appreciate the relationships that have not yet manifested. Just like you or me as a being is not exclusive to our being in a body. I was a being before I came into this body, and I will yet be a being when I leave this body. And so it is with relationships. Relationships are not exclusive to bodies circling in together. So it's important to be in that wonderful dance with those that you are in physical contact in relationship with, but also the intangible dances of relationship as well. And that can be the relationships that you have with angels, with ascended masters, with the ancestors that have crossed over, and with the elementals, as well. It's a really powerful time to be in communication and in deeper and more expanded relationship with those expressions of being that are not necessarily in this physical domain. Okay, so I'm going to now open up the chat, and I would like for you, please don't give me a lot of words. Last webinar was like chasing text down the screen. It was moving so fast. So what I'd really like for you to do, if you have a question, see if you can put that question in a word. If it's a question around love, or it's a question around peace, or it's a question around power, or whatever it might happen to be, if you can put it in a word or not more than just a couple words, and let me be responsive to that. And it will also be an opportunity for our telepathic ability to become sharpened and more expanded. So let me go ahead and open it up. I love you so much. I thank you for being here with me, for growing and expanding. So the chat is now open. Oh, wait, hold on a minute. It's not open yet. It will be in a minute. Okay, now it's open. Okay, sleep issues during Mercury retrograde. That's sometimes when planetary energies are very, very strong, there is difficulty in sleeping, in that there is a over energizing. You're overly energized, or you have more energy than you can actually take into the sleep state. So what I recommend for you, Hope, is that when something like that is happening, that don't try to go to sleep. but rather meditate. Lay down and go into a state of meditation. I do this quite often myself when I'm overly energized and not sleeping. I will simply do a Reiki treatment on myself, and which is also an automatic state of meditation. And I go into that place of calmness, and then the next thing I roll off to sleep. But don't fight with it. Sometimes you might need to just get up and do something creative as well. But one of the worst things that you could do is to go into a state of upset, and trying to wage war with the idea of not being able to sleep. So I love you so much, and I'm going to hold the intention and the vision that you will come into absolute mastery of that experience and be able to get your good night's sleep. And when you're not sleeping, that you'll be in a state of peace and calm around it. Okay, beautiful. Let me see what we got here. Okay, receiving downloads and codes, vibrational resonance. In receiving downloads, it's really important to, let's see, where that come from? Amori, yeah, Amori. Okay, so Amori, in receiving different downloads, one of the things that is really helpful is to absolutely know that there is an infinite awareness inside of you. Sometimes we become really urgent about understanding what are these codes that are coming to us, and what do these downloads actually mean that's coming, when the actual meaning of these things exists inside of us. So as you're receiving these different downloads, the key is go into a place of stillness, of still meditation. And also, as you're receiving the download, if you allow yourself to just smile into that vibration, then there's something about the endorphins that are created through the smiling that then will facilitate an expanded understanding of those codes and downloads that are coming to you. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. Also, if you want to go really, really deep in some of these things, I highly recommend having a reading, and maybe a reading and a healing transmission with me, and then we can go into real specifics, that are very personally related to you. If that resonates with you, then you can reach out and we can do that. Let's see what else we got here. Manifesting in this cycle, Alaya. Well, certainly all of the things that we spoke about before, that I spoke about before, will help to facilitate the manifesting process. But one of the things about manifesting is, in order to manifest more efficiently, we must come into a place of being in a higher appreciation for that which has not yet manifest. Let's take a look at the creation story. So God created the heavens and the earth. Or in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So the earth is about to be created in the physical sense, and yet it's spoken of as a reality already, even before being brought into manifestation. And so in order to manifest more fully, you must up-level your appreciation for that reality that you want to come into manifestation when it's still an embryo in the womb of your mind. I think one of the best ways that I could respond to your question is by way of this poem that I wrote called The Great Femifestation. All the keys are here. The Great Femifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestation. Manifestation, the second coming of reality, is born of emotion in its totality. Thoughts and feelings create all forms, and blessings thrive before they are born. So through great prior appreciation, flood your life with manifestations. The great femifestation is eternal, a never-ending, formless stream of life. If manifestation is your only thrill, you're in the grips of fear and strife. Forms will come and forms will go. This is a truth that we all know, and all things of time and space at some point will be erased. Faith is the substance of all desires, the evidence of that which is not seen. So celebrate the unseen goodness, and all the riches of form are then yours to redeem. When the miracles of your life are still sleeping in the void, skyrocket your gratitude, and they come leaping from the void. You are pregnant with every blessing that will ever come to be, embryos within your soul, though human eyes have yet to see. So see with the eye of mind and heart into infinite realms of the great unseen. Choose wonderful feelings without concrete reasons, and all the riches of the kingdom are now yours to redeem. The great femifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestations. So those are the keys to help facilitate the manifesting process. Now, one thing I want to share before I go any further in responding to what you put it in the chat is I'm going to be sending a transmission to each and every registrant, each and every participant in this Mercury Retrograde two-part experience. So, beginning with tomorrow for 7 consecutive days, I will be sending a 12-minute Reiki transmission, healing transmission to you. I'm going to send it every day at exactly 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you're able to be still and, sync up with that exact time, that's wonderful. If you're not, just pick a time, because every time is now. And even if you sit down in meditation with the intention of receiving what I'm transmitting at a different time, then there will be a synchronicity, of those energies. And for 12 minutes, just go into meditation and be open and receptive to that which is being sent to you for the purpose of expanding a greater creative expression within you, and for the purpose of bringing about a greater synergy with who you are and your connection with the whole universe. So for 7 consecutive days, I'll be sending 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so that's that little message. I wanted to make sure to get that in, just in case you popped out before we're done. Okay, let's see what we got here. Thank you. You're so welcome and infinitely worthy. Let's see if I can find a question here. Okay, dealing with negative family members. Okay, that's a good one. Negative family members, because when it's a matter of family, these are people that we feel a definite allegiance to. It's important to know that sometimes a person can be your blood, but not your family. You might be of the same bloodline, but family is that which has a harmonious synergy. Sometimes it's just a matter of determining what is the healthiest proximity to be in with regards to a family member or family members. Some family members are not really healthy to be up close and personal with. And this is especially important to be aware of around the holidays, because so often when the holidays come about, people feel like they have to go and visit with family, but then have this seething resentment inside about spending time with family. So if you have a seething resentment inside when you go and spend time with family during the holidays, then that resentment is letting you know that you are engaging in a very unsacred yes, because you're saying yes to something that is not in alignment with your own integrity. So sometimes relative to family, it's just a matter of knowing when it is appropriate to say the sacred no. That is establishing your own boundaries. And also, we all can be a bit empathic at times where we feel the energies of other people as if it's our own energy. And so it is also a matter of being able to distinguish or choosing to distinguish what energy is yours and what energy is coming from someone else. If you were feeling fine and then you were around a certain family member or friend, and suddenly you begin to feel badly because they were in a very negative space, then you want to stop and do a disclaimer. This is not my energy. I don't have to own it. And then the negative energy will fall away. But you have to do the disclaimer. And then lastly, it's really important that you don't judge them, because that which you judge, you bind yourself to. So you don't want to, even if they're being negative, don't be negative in reaction to them. You might want to say, I align with everywhere and every when along the course of eternity where me and this family member are in the most harmonious resonance of relationship with each other. Because no matter what the nature of energy is between you in the now moment that you're dealing with, you can find many, many moments in many sectors along the course of eternity where you are in the most wonderful, harmonious interchange with that very same beloved. And these things are all recorded in cellular memory inside of you. It reminds me of something that I did many years ago. I walked into a restaurant. I was with my beloved at that time, and the energy in this restaurant was loud, and the energy just felt really, abrasive and negative to me. And suddenly, out of the blue, I thought, the thought said, I align with everywhere and every when in the course of eternity that every being in this restaurant are in their highest, most wonderful, loving frequency of vibration, and I am in the most highest interconnection with them. And all of a sudden, the energy completely changed in the restaurant. Now, it wasn't that the noise level changed or any of that, but the frequency inside of me changed because I changed the way in which I was looking at the energy. So you got to change the way that you're looking at, those family members, and circumstance or the frequency inside of you will change, and you will not be in reaction mode, and you'll find your place of peace, and you'll be invincible, invisible, and invulnerable to the energies of that negativity that's coming at you. I love you so much. Vivid dreams but can't recall. This is from Hope. Well, you affirm that you will recall, affirm that it will, come into alignment. The first thing we have to, you can't arrive where you're not heading. So even the way that you language that, you say, I have vivid dreams, but I'm not able to recall them. So where is the energy of empowerment being given? It's being given to the idea that I am not able to recall them. What if you were to relanguage that and say, I have really vivid dreams and I'm really looking forward to being able to recall them and to be more clearly aware in my recall of the dreams that I have had. Then you're aiming your energy in the direction of the reality that you want. This is something, you can't arrive where you're not heading, and where you're heading is always determined by where you are looking. Okay, Amori says, how can we support you during this cycle? Meaning support me. I love that because that's been one of my great lessons, and that is the lesson of learning to let others support me. I've been a great supporter of others. I have given and given and given, but receiving is sometimes a little bit difficult. So the way that you can support me is, one, by just holding the highest visions of me in terms of what it is that I'm offering in my teachings, and that I keep these offerings very crisp, and that I come into pristine mastery of all of this technological software that I'm working with. And also you can support me by, sending forth those, if it's, within your means to absolutely, send forth your gift. As the tuition for these webinars is a suggested gift. And I'm not pushing real hard for it, but I am opening up my heart to receive. And if it is within your means, absolutely do that. So that's definitely a way in which you can support me, because I do have to pay to run these webinars, and want to keep it all in balance and keep it in that place of win-win. And lastly, send forth prayers that I'm opening my heart bigger and wider to receive this great abundance that I know the universe wants to give to me, because the more of that abundance that comes into me, then the more I'm going to be able to bless the world at large. So thank you so much for that question, Amori. I really appreciate that. And I love you so much. Okay, how can we tap into the abundance of the universe? This is from Tiffany. Um, Tapping into the abundance of the universe is first and foremost a matter of, I feel, recognizing that all abundance that exists in the whole of the universe is your own abundance by extension. When you look and you see an abundance of leaves on the trees, that is an expression of your own abundance. If, for example, you were to allow yourself to say, oh my God, look at how abundant I am by way of the leaves on the trees, then something, activates inside of you relative to being magnetic to attracting more abundance. You see, there is individual abundance, which represents all of the abundance that is yours on a personal level. And then there's universal abundance. Just like in astrology, the second house represents one's personal abundance. The eighth house, which is opposite the second, represents all of the abundance that exists within the whole universe. So you're able to create a greater flow of abundance by honoring that all abundance is yours, even if it's a moment when you seem to be individually not in the greatest state of abundance. But you look around and you see others that are being very abundant, then feel a sense of oneness with those who you are witnessing being abundant. Like, oh my God, look at how abundant I am through that part of me. Look at how much money I have through this part of me. Look at how much joy I have through those parts of me. This is the way in which we create the soul jump start, and we're able to then jump start ourselves on an individual level, just like one car jump starts another when the battery has gone down on one. But you have to line up the battery cables, you have to connect them. And connecting is equal to feeling a sense of oneness with all of the abundance that exists within the whole of the universe, because what you're looking for is creating the feeling frequency of abundance, because that's where the real richness lies. Sometimes you can get a thing that you really wanted, and all of a sudden you feel no more joy about having that thing. So it shows you that it's not the thing that really produces the joy, it's the joy that produces the thing. So start from the premise of recognizing that you are a billionaire of being. And when you recognize that you're a billionaire of being, then you'll be on your way to manifesting all of the abundance that you want to manifest in the external sense. And also honoring your period of gestation, like mamas that are pregnant. Like some mamas give birth, at the standard 9 months, and some mamas give birth a little earlier, 6 or 7 or 8 months, and some mamas go a little bit later and they give birth at 10 months. Well, the life force that's given birth to is no less valuable, whether it comes at 6 months, 7, 8, 9, or 10 months. Mama who's 10 months along and haven't given birth to the baby just yet, the baby's just as valuable. She just has a longer period of gestation. And sometimes when it comes to manifesting, we have a longer period of gestation. We're just pregnant for a little bit of a longer time with that abundance that we're going to give birth to. But as long as we stay in that place of joy and exaltation of spirit, then ultimately we will give birth to a healthy baby of the manifestation of whatever that abundance is that we're wanting. Love you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna close the chat for a minute here and move towards some final points that I want to share with you that I feel hold importance. It's a time for delving deeper into spirit, recognizing that your body is the meeting place for the spirit that you really are, or the whole universe that you really are. Physically, you have a presence, but the spiritual reality of who you are is the omnipresence, that which is without boundaries. So again, work towards sharpening the intuition. It is more available than ever right now. To delve into realms of the unknown, the unconscious is more available. And it's certainly an important time to gather with other people in the different temples and the synagogues and the places of worship and the spiritual centers, and wherever people are coming to spiritual classes, wherever people are coming together in a spiritual way. It's a really important time to keep sacred company with these spiritual circles, because there's a lot of wisdom, a lot of expansion and understanding that's going to flow out of that. I thank you all so much for sharing this time with me. I'm feeling really, really high within my being, and certainly very grateful for overcoming the little Mercury retrograde bloop in the beginning. I didn't know if we were going to have to cancel and work for another time, but what I feel so grateful for is the centeredness that I maintained within my spirit, that I did absolutely in that moment practice all the stuff that I'm preaching. And so I invite you to do the same thing relative to your overall life. Remember the beauty of your being. And also another way in which you can be supportive of me is that visit my website, Astarius.com, Astarius.com, and go and listen to some of my sound clips and maybe put in a few orders. I have 19 CDs over there. I mean, really amazing stuff that's available through the hard copy CD that can be mailed to you, or digital downloads. And of course, the digital downloads are a lot less expensive. They're just $9.99 per download. And I even have a special: when you buy 3 albums, you get a 4th one free. And another special around Sound Wizard, because it's my latest album, and it has binaural beats in it as well as spirit rap embedded throughout the whole album, in all of the 9 tracks. And even when you buy 3 and get a 4th one free in the standard sense, when you send me an email, letting me know what free one you want, because you get 2 for 1 with Sound Wizard. I really want Sound Wizard out there. So whenever you buy Sound Wizard, you get a second album for free, a digital download. And then I have 2 books. I have Miraculi, Song of Ascension, and I have Feast of the Zodiac, Wisdom of Astrology. There's also excerpts that you can read from those books on my website. So, I mean, there's so many different things that I offer that's just out of my heart. All the YouTube videos, all those couple of hundred videos on YouTube, that's my gift to the universe. That's how I give, and I love doing that. And I also appreciate it when you have the presence of mind and heart to play in the field of win-win with me, especially if you're finding value in all of this that is being given, to go and partake of some of those things, maybe even gift some of it to others as well. And lastly, consider the possibility of doing a private session with me. You know, we go deeper on a much more personal level when I do readings. You know, we look at the core essence of who you are. We get to look at your entire astrological chart. You know, your sun is going to tell us about your core essence and the way in which you're lined up with the Most High, the way that the Creator wants to express through you. We find all of that out through your sun. Your moon is going to tell us about your emotionality. It's going to tell us about your family dynamics, and also your pattern of desires. Your Mercury, about how you use your mind. Your Venus, you know, the relationship dynamics. Your Mars, a little bit about, you know, if you're a woman, the type of male energy you attract. If you're a man, the male energy that you're internally carrying. Venus, if you're a man, the type of female energy that you attract. You know, also where you're at with the inner feminine expression, because even we as men have an inner female, and all women have an inner male. So we go into deep and expansive dialogue about who you are, and looking at the current cycles and looking at the future cycles and all of that. And also, it's really awesome when we do the reading healing combination, where I do the transmissions with the didgeridoo, with vocal harmonics, and all of that. And it's really quite an amazing experience. And I would love to serve and empower you on a greater level with regards to that. And I want to grow and expand, you know, in feeling more comfortable, you know, with asking for that money. Because I've been a little shy about that. I'm shy about asking, period. You know, so dynamic in the giving mode. But I'm ready now. I'm ready to move forward and be open and receive, and to also ask. And with that, I'm going to now share some final didgeridoo energy with the intention of creating a greater opening of frequency within you. I think what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to transmit the frequency of Jupiter to you through these sound currents, through the didgeridoo. Jupiter, to create expansion of abundance, expansion of self-love, expansion of creative expression, expansion of every wonderful thing that you want to expand. Okay, my beloveds, I love you with the passion of heaven. I'm so grateful for you, and thank you for playing with me in this arena of the cyberspace auditorium of Mercury University, the mystery school. This is just our second time around, and we're going to get better and better at it every time we do it. I feel so much gratitude in this moment, so much gratitude for you. And I pray that you have gratitude for yourself. that you have big love for yourself, big appreciation for yourself, and you're the only one of you that you've got. So you want to love on yourself with the passion of heaven. Let every day put your arms around yourself, give yourself a big hug, and then pinch yourself on all four cheeks, top and bottom. That's cheekaboo. And so, aho, ashe, amen, namaste, hotep, in lakesh, halakim, shalom, satnam, hariom. Our sacred juices are cooked and infinitely expanding. And we will always have miles in our smile, wiggle in our giggle, tingling in our boots, and laughter ever after. The replay is available at 10:30 Eastern Time. And my website, astarius.com, for you to give your offerings and your gifts via the donation button. Lucid dreams to you tonight.